Big news out of Canada, the 2026 immigration strategy is here, and it's not what anyone expected. Fewer permits, tougher rules, and a brand new approach to who gets to stay. So what does this mean for your Canadian dream? Let's break it all down. Welcome to Canada Visa, your trusted source for everything you need to know about studying, working, and living in Canada. In today's video, we're breaking down the Canada 2026 immigration strategy, what's changing, why it's happening, and most importantly, what it means for your future. So, whether you're already here on a study or work permit or planning to apply soon, stay tuned. Because understanding these changes could make the difference between achieving your Canadian dream or starting all over again. Over the past few years, Canada became one of the most immigrant-friendly countries in the world. The population grew faster than ever, driven not by births, but by newcomers. In fact, almost all of Canada's population growth since 2022 has come from immigration. That might sound great, but it also led to major challenges. Housing prices skyrocketed, rents hit record highs, and people in big cities like Toronto and Vancouver started struggling to find affordable places to live. Hospitals were overcrowded, public transport was jammed, and Canadians began to worry that immigration was growing too fast for the system to handle. That's why the government introduced the 2026 immigration strategy to shift from rapid growth to sustainable growth. The new plan focuses on three big ideas: stabilizing the number of new arrivals, improving the quality and integration of newcomers, and reforming how international students and temporary residents fit into the system. First, stabilization. For years, Canada kept raising its immigration targets. In 2025, the goal was 500,000 new permanent residents, an all-time high. But in 2026, that number won't keep climbing. Instead, it will level off. The government plans to maintain about 500,000 new permanent residents a year, but stop the constant increases. The message is clear. It's no longer about bringing in as many people as possible. It's about bringing in the right people with the right skills. That leads us to international students, one of the groups most affected by these changes. Canada's student population exploded to over 1 million in recent years. And while many came for quality education, others were drawn by the promise of an easier path to permanent residency. Some colleges, especially smaller private ones, took advantage of that, offering low-value programs just to collect high tuition fees. The government says this has to stop. So, in 2026, Canada will introduce a national cap on study permits. Provinces will have quotas, and schools will need to meet higher standards to keep their designated learning institution status. That means some private colleges could lose the right to accept international students altogether. The post-graduation work permit, the PGWP, will also get stricter. Right now, graduates from almost any program can work in Canada for up to 3 years after finishing school. But under the new strategy, only programs tied to labor market needs like healthcare, engineering, skilled trades, and green technology will guarantee a full work permit. In other words, Canada wants students to study in fields that actually lead to real jobs and fill real shortages. Temporary residents, or TREs, are also seeing big changes. Right now, about 2.5 million people in Canada are on temporary visas, making up nearly 6% of the total population. The government believes that's too high. In 2026, Canada will try to bring that number down by limiting open work permits and tightening visitor extensions. Instead, they'll create clearer, targeted pathways from temporary status to permanent residency, but only for workers in essential industries or regions that truly need people. The new immigration approach is also about balance, not just in numbers, but in geography. Too many newcomers settle in Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal, where housing is already unaffordable. The government wants to attract more immigrants to smaller provinces and rural areas. Programs like the Atlantic Immigration Program and the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot will play a bigger role in that shift. So why is all this happening now? Simply put, the public mood has changed. Canadians still value immigration. It's part of the country's identity, but there's growing concern that the system is out of control. The cost of living crisis, housing shortages, and strained public services have made immigration a political flashpoint. The government's new plan is an attempt to calm those worries without closing the door to newcomers. What does this mean if you're planning to study or work in Canada? It means you'll need to plan more carefully. Choose your school wisely. Make sure your program aligns with in-demand jobs. The government has made it clear that students coming for low-quality or unrelated programs won't have the same opportunities to stay after graduation. Financial requirements are also rising. The proof of funds threshold for students has already increased, and it could rise again by 2026. The government wants to make sure international students can afford to live in Canada without being forced to work excessive hours or rely on food banks. For those already in Canada on temporary status, the message is, don't wait. If your study or work permit expires soon, explore your options early. Keep an eye on new PR streams that favor specific industries or regions, and try to gain experience in fields that Canada is prioritizing. Critics say the plan could unfairly impact those who came under old rules. Students and workers who invested time and money hoping for permanent residency might now find the path narrower. But the government insists that this reset is essential for long-term sustainability. In the end, Canada isn't closing its doors, it's reshaping how they open. The country still needs skilled, ambitious newcomers, but it wants to make sure they're set up for success, not struggle. Thank you for watching Welcome to Canada Visa, your trusted guide to life, study, and immigration in Canada. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on the latest Canadian immigration news and strategies. And as always, if you have questions or want to share your own experience, drop them in the comments below. We read every single one.